when you're dreaming from a mill town.
Alright, so what's your name?
Palermo Stone, aka Pittsburgh P. Tip the L spit. It goes way back.
How'd you come up with the name Palermo Stone?
It's actually just on some deeper shit for real. It's like I be getting real high some nights and I go to sleep and then I wake up with like these random shits. And not just like, it was a time where I was like doing like acid and shit too. So I wake up with like literally like whole songs or like whole ideas of shit, and I had no idea what the Palermo Stone was. It's like an actual stone. I had no idea what it was, but in my dream it was like my rap name. And when I woke up, I was like, yeah, I couldn't even spell it. I didn't even know how to spell it, and I was like Googling that shit. But then it kind of like related to a lot of the shit that like how I feel about myself. So it's like a stone that's like has like the 5th century like kings and queens of like Egypt, so like the pharaohs of like Egypt. And during the decline of the Egyptian Empire, like everything was lost. They couldn't read hieroglyphics because there was no one or like nothing to like decipher it until the Rosetta Stone came, and they were able to decipher everything. So for like centuries, it was used as like a doorstop, and it was used as like something to prop up a table until somebody looked at it and was like, yo, this is hieroglyphics. And then they read it, and then all the stories about like Nefertiti and King Tut and like all these pharaohs that like we know about today, all their stories and like the fact that they were actually real things and real people was like deciphered. So I kind of related that to myself, like no one knows your worth until you're discovered, kind of, you know. So like you can know you're a king, or you can know you're a queen, or you can know your worth, but until the world widely accepts you as that, then like, you know, you just kind of go about life just, you know, the same way.
You were Tip the Ill Spit originally.
Yeah.
How'd that name come about?
Man, I don't know, man. My name was like always Tip for like a minute, like since like the 7th grade, because there was a dude named Tyrone Campbell. He raps. He actually lives out in LA, but we had the same name, Tyrone Campbell. So like we would go through school together. Like my school wasn't that creative, so like we literally went in alphabetical order. So we had classes like all the time, and they would call Tyrone Campbell, and we both be like, what? Or like, you know, like, yo. And we get called onto the office. We both have to go because they couldn't decipher us like between each other. So people just start giving us like nicknames, and he was like more like street. So like he was like Ty Murder, and I was and I made up like this name for myself like during like a class, and it was just Tipper actually, and it just kind of stuck. Like girls thought it was cool, so like the girls kept calling me Tip. And then the dudes kept calling me Tip, so it just became a thing. And then when I started rapping, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And like Mac and Fran, and then we're like, yo, you just spit ill shit, you know? And I was like, Tip the Ill Spit, like that's gonna be my rap name. And it was like mad hip hop, but if I felt like if I wanted to grow, I needed to like come up with something different, you know? So that's what I kind of did.
You're from Pittsburgh. Yeah. What part of Pittsburgh are you from?
Born in McKeesport. Then when I was like 12, I moved to Braddock. So I've been pretty much McKeesport and Braddock like raised me.
Where did you grow up, majority?
It's split kind of, because I moved from McKeesport when I was 12. So from birth to 12, it was the port. And then 12 to 17, so pretty much McKeesport. 12 to 17, I was in Braddock. I kicked out my house when I was 17, so I moved after that.
Both those are part of the Mon Valley.
For sure.
So what was that like growing up in the Mon Valley?
It's different. I mean, like, it's cool because we're like our own little separate area, you know, in the Berg. Like, there's, you know, the city, and then we're just kind of like outside the city, but it's like our own little thing. Like, we rep that shit like hardcore. I think every city, every little part got their own thing, like the north side, south side, this side, that side. But the Mon Valley, it's so big, and we just kind of like mob out together. I mean, like growing up though, we had beef, like Braddock and the port, or really like it was a football thing. So like I went to Woodland Hills, but I was coming from McKeesport, so it was like a thing. I had to like fight boys when I first went to school. But all in all, we became more connected, like especially when the hip hop shit started blowing up. But it was cool, man. It was different. It's definitely grimy. In the mid '90s, it was definitely grimy, and it's getting back to that now, cause shit's getting crazy again.
What kind of music were you into growing up?
Man, like gospel for real. Like my mom's like the most Christian woman like in the world. Like never heard her cuss. She never drink, she don't smoke, nothing. She just had me on gospel music. I never really listened to nothing else unless I was outside. And when I was probably like 96, 97, and I got into Jay-Z. My uncle had a Jay-Z CD, and we used to ride around. and he played Reasonable Doubt, and that's when I was like, yo, like, fuck everything else, like, I really love rap music. And I was like 7 years old, 8 years old. So from that time on, I really only listened to rap, but like, growing up, I was in like choir in church and shit like that. So like my mom definitely made me listen to gospel because she wanted that good side in me. Then I started listening to rap and shit just got progressively worse, I guess. Started smoking weed and doing all types of shit.
Did you play any instruments?
Yeah, my first instrument was a saxophone because I wanted to be like Bill Clinton and shit. I thought he was like mad cool. And he played the sax. So I was like, yeah, like, that's just a cool ass dude. He was like one of the first presidents when I was like born, I believe, like late 80s, like early 90s. I was like, yo, this dude's cool as hell. He plays the sax and he's the president. Like, so I was like, yeah, let me get on the saxophone. So I did that. I played the guitar, the drums, the normal shit. Like after like you do something different, you get to do like some regular shit. Then I want to say I played like the clarinet or some like stupid shit like in band class. I could play like the clarinet or like the triangle because I needed extra credit or something.
When did you first start rapping and why?
First started rapping, I was definitely in high school, but I was just fucking around. Like me and my boys, it was before we took it serious. Like Fran and Vinny was already rapping. Like Vinny's name was like Prophet. It wasn't even Vinny Radio. It was like Prophet, and Fran was always Franchise. They weren't in a group yet. I just like wanted to rap super bad. And I was probably like 17, and I just wanted to be like a rapper. And I never rapped, like not a day in my life. But I seen Fran and I knew he rapped and shit because we used to listen to his CDs and shit. And I seen him at like a fair in Turtle Creek and he was like just like the coolest nigga at the time. So I went up to him and I was like, yo, I rap, man, like I'm trying to get down. And he was like, yeah, like kind of faded me off. Yeah. Then I started rapping like kind of after that day because I was like, if he hit me up, like I'm trying to actually get on track and kill it. So I kind of started rapping after that day. And then he ended up hitting me up like 2 years late, like a year later. I was probably like 18, I had just graduated. And my first track I ever really did was with Fran and Vinny on Fran's CD, The Perfect Storm. And we had this song called Pittsburgh's Player Circle. That was the first time Vinny came back with his new name, Vintage Radio. And Fran was on there and I was on there my first like track, and I was in ID Labs in a big studio for the first time, and that was the first time I ever rapped, man. And I don't know, I just wanted to rap because I didn't have shit else to do, you know. All my friends was going to college and shit, and I kind of wanted to always be an entrepreneur, but I didn't know what business to start. I figured rap would be a good first business to start because it was like something that I could create for free.
You were a part of the East End Empire.
Yeah.
So who was a part of that and what sort of things did you guys do?
So it was me, Fran and Vinny. So before they were to come up, I guess it was just like kind of them as a duo. And then BD and Mac, who were like ill-spoken at the time, so they both had their own little thing. Fran and Vinny had their own thing, and then Ghosty and Vils had their own thing with the Scholars. So like it was like those groups, and then like I just kind of popped in like, yo, what's up? Like I just started rapping yesterday. Like, but Will Cowson like kind of brought us all together, and he was like, yeah, I think these are some of the illest spitters in the city, and like people just like respected him. Like he was on them blog forums like before like blogs got real big, and he was like pushing us on like rapmullet.com and like all these like these hip hop forums, and like we were dropping songs like these posse cuts, and they were getting like major views because he just was so well respected on those blogs. It just became a thing, and then like we kind of just started like mobbing out and doing like tons of shows, and we had the city like real lit for a minute. Like we had merch, we had everything, and like everything was kind of going real well. And then we started fucking with B White and Mayo, and they weren't like necessarily Eastern Empire, but they were like close knit. And B dropped out slowly but surely, and we just all kind of tried to mob together and just get as popular as we could. Talk
about the climate of the hip hop scene at that point during the Eastern Empire.
It was popping, man. It was popping. Like there was shit always going on, and like the Shadow Lounge was like the hub for like everything. You know what I mean? So like it was like how when boys watch 8 Mile, like the Shelter and 8 Mile. Like that's how the fucking Shadow Lounge was for us. Like if you could spit, that's where you needed to be at, because you know, you needed to show your shit, you know. And I went there, my first show was there, August 8th, 2008. I remember that shit because it was all 8. I had a show there. I never spit over I never went to a studio. I just had beats, like industry beats, and I would spit over like Kanye beats, and I did a whole set. It was like 15 minutes, and I just spit over the beats. Like I didn't even have verses for the whole song. But then like after I got off stage, like one, I got like a standing ovation. And I was like blown away because like I never even rapped before like on stage. And that was the first place where boys was like, man, like you know, you showed your shit. And that's where I met Mac for the first time too. He was just outside rapping and there was mad people around him and he was just going off for like freestyling for like 20 minutes. And then I'm like, yo, like I couldn't even see there was so many people around him. Then actually after everybody like moved away, it was just like this little white kid. And I was like, yo, what the fuck? Like, he was like, yeah, what's up, man? My name's Easy. It was Easy Mac at the time. He was 15 years old. He was like, yeah, what's up, man? My name's Easy Mac. I'm like, dog, like, oh, well, man, you're fucking killing shit right now. Like, so, like, it was like that time where, like, if you were there and you could rap, you were, like, popping. Now, it's, like, a little different, though. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's rapping now. And there's no hub for that shit. Like, it's literally spread out everywhere. Like, you know, like, if you from the poor or from the Mon Valley, for real, you can probably go to, like, Kansas City, put on a show. You know, that shit's smacking in there every time. You know, so you have your own little area, but you're only subject to those people that go there. And like, you know, you're on the north side, you might go to some spot on the north side. If you like a cat like me, where I do a lot of shows on the south side, but it's like, that's like a traveler's destination. Like you have to want to go there. There's no people just walking into your shows, you know what I mean? Because there's so much other shit going on. Different places, it's like you gotta go there or be from there to even get that. So you're kind of rapping for the same people all the time. There's no general hub for people to go to and just travel to because they love hip hop. So it's a little different. You're not really gaining many fans in the city like you were back then. That's how I got most of my followers. I got like 4,000 followers. I probably got 2,000 of them 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And it's just been slower since then, but like that's just how it is, you know what I mean? Like in the climate in Pittsburgh today. But back then it was popping.
After the East End Empire, you're part of Mac's Most Dope crew for a while.
Yeah.
So talk about what that was like, how that came about.
It just kind of became a thing. Like, I don't know, we were just like sitting around one day and Mac was the one getting like, he was the most popular one in the group as far as like things go. And he was like hopping on Ustream mad early, freestyling and shit. And Ustream was barely even a thing, but he had like all these people on there. So we just was like, yo, we need a name for it. And we were just kind of sitting around getting high one day. And I think Tree J just said it like, he's like, yeah, we're like the most dope like crew, like we're the dopest crew. And Key was like, yeah, most dope, like that's tight. And then like a week later, we all just like got tattoos that said most dope on it. And we just like took it super serious. And I think everybody else kind of took it serious because we took it so serious. And then shit just started clicking, you know what I mean? Like life was just regular. And then like Lil Bow Wow DM Mac, like, yo, shit's hard. And then like Justin Bieber's manager, Scooter Braun, like DM'd him, was like, yo, we watching. I'm just like, yo, yesterday we were just like chilling at the crib, like trying to just like smoke weed, and now all of a sudden like YouTube and Ustream blew up and now you're like famous for real. And then like R.A.R.E Pitt and them started coming around and Benji and just started kind of like showing love a little bit here and there, and we started traveling. So the shit was like crazy. It happened so fast where like we didn't even realize it was really like almost like a year's time. Like we dropped the High Life and that was like when it was started moving. And then the next project was Kids like a year later. And after that, he was like a mega star. So like during that time, that year, we just kind of traveled and did shows and, you know, tried to enjoy ourselves as much as we could before like life changed too much. And then shit just kind of changed. He blew up after Kids and moved to LA and all type of shit. So like it was cool though. That time was, I learned a lot about how to actually work hard, you know, because he was in the studio every single day, all day. You know, he barely slept. We would travel and do shows, and he would try to be up writing in a whip and shit like that. And it was just like amazing to watch somebody so young, like grind like that, because he knew what he wanted his whole life, you know.
At what point did you step away from that and want to start working on your own solo career?
It was around that time, like around the time when, like seeing all that shit made me want it so bad, you know. It made me want to have my own entity, you know what I mean? I would see it, and I would see the money that started coming in, because it was like not paid, nobody at your shows, to like checks that were like, I mean, he's getting crazier checks now, but checks back then where we were just like, yo, this is $5,000. Like, we didn't even do shit. But it was like his cheese, you know what I mean? Like, he would give us a little bit of money and shit, but like, so I kind of just like seen that, and I was like, man, I need to get it for myself. That's when I really kind of started taking it more serious. But like I said, back in the day when I first started rapping, I was just like kind of joking. And like I did that track with Fran and Vinny on that song, and then I didn't take it serious again for like another 2-3 years. And in 2010, whenever Mac dropped Kids and he got signed to R.A.R.E. That's when I dropped my first project, like that fall, like probably. He got signed to R.A.R.E. and I dropped my project like 5 days after that. And he was on the track on that, so it helped it out a lot. So like I had a real good start because of Mac. But yeah, 2010, that's when I started really like taking it serious and wanting it for myself. So I'm going on my 5th year. So like it feels good for sure.
So after becoming solo, before starting your own group, R.A.R.E Nation, you had like a run for about like 2 years, just kind of doing your own thing.
Yeah.
Talk about what that time period was like.
Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of just me. I was just kind of out there. I mean, like I got cool with like JKJ, and but I didn't have no management. You know what I mean? I didn't have nobody to like push my shit. I was living out in Greensburg at the time, like doing my own little separate thing. You know, wasn't really even focused on the music all like that. I was just kind of trying to get money and shit. But you know, I was like dropping tapes. Like I dropped my first project. I dropped my second project when I lived out there. And I got cool with JKJ, put him on his first show with Mac and shit like that. And you know, I was just kind of in the business of helping people. When I moved back to Pittsburgh, I moved in with my boy R.A.R.E, who was my manager for almost 2.5 years, and my business partner for like almost 2.5 years. And same shit, man. I woke up after, like, I had a dream that night about R.A.R.E Nation, because I was all fucked up on Molly or some shit, and I woke up and I was like, yo, like, this is tight. Revitalizing art, reinventing emotion. Like, I had a wild, like, colorful dream about that shit. I brought it up to, like, R.A.R.E and my boy John, who still be working with me. And we was just, like, drunk as hell, like, the night after. And we were like, yeah, let's do it. You know, let's start a company. And, you know, they were like, we'll take on all the email shit and all the, you know, trying to book you shows and all that. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of became a thing. But that time in between, it was just, like, I was kind of on my own, just trying to do my own shit, sending my own emails. I was working a lot harder and not being able to focus on the craft more so than I was trying to really stress on the business side of it, because I was trying to get popping more than even trying to get good at rap. So once they came into the picture, I was able to just like get good at rap, you know?
So talk about the start of R.A.R.E and what R.A.R.E means and how that all came together.
Yeah, I mean, so R.A.R.E, I mean, it just stands for Revitalizing Art, Reinventing Emotion. And like when I had the dream, it was kind of just like, it's the way I create music, you know what I mean? Like I take all these different things, you know, like whether it's my life or one of my friends' life or, you know, like this thing or that thing, and I take all that emotion and I recreate it into music, whether it be like songs about like street shit or like songs about some shit, it's shit that I've seen or shit that I've done or experienced or have heard my boy like stress about or heard this and that, and I just try to turn it into music. So like I wanted to bring the art back into music, and I wanted to like revitalize, you know, and reinvent that emotion of the world, you know, to a thing. So that's when it kind of just came about like that. But like start of it was like, it was cool because people like took to that shit. Like I didn't really understand what like how like when Wiz had Taylor Gang or Wiz has Taylor Gang and Mac has Most Dope, it's like a cult type of thing. Like they want to be a part of a group or a following. So like I didn't have nothing like that. It was just like Palermo Stone. But then once we did the R.A.R.E thing, it was like people started just gravitating towards it as a thing. Like we want to be involved in that or want to be a part of that or want to support that, because it's more than just that rapper. It's like it's the thing for the fans, you know? And I didn't really understand that until that moment. And then like my boy Ads, who still raps under R.A.R.E, he was one of the first ones that was real vocal on like Twitter and shit, and just like he walked from Point Park, because he was going to school there, all the way up the hill to Mount Washington, which if you're from Pittsburgh, you know that's a big ass hill. If you're not from Pittsburgh, when I say Mount Washington, that shit's a fucking mountain. And he walked all the way up that shit to do a track. It was like a paid fee, like he ended up paying me for it. I ended up eventually giving him the money back like a year later. But he just walked, like the dedication of it, because he wanted to be like a part of something bigger than himself. And I didn't really realize the impact that it was gonna have until that time too. Like it opened up my eyes, like shit, like we might be doing something. And I fucked with Ad so much, I was like, yo, you should be like the first artist underneath it, you know, besides myself. And he was. And then we had other artists. We had M&I, who came a little bit later. She was there before the R.A.R.E thing, but then she came back around and became part of R.A.R.E. My boy R.A.R.E, who still be rapping and shit, he was a part of it. But they both left whenever me and Mac had got to like a little Twitter thing for a minute, and they thought that because I was beefing with Mac, which it was never a beef, we're friends, you know, we're allowed to have arguments and shit, but like everyone else took it as like a thing, and they were like, oh well, if you're beefing with Mac, like he's like the biggest star in the city, so like you know, we can't fuck with you. Which I'm still cool with both of them, you know, today. But, you know, it's like they just wanted to leave. So those two left and then JKJ came.
So who's a part of R.A.R.E. today?
Me, Ads, Analytic, JKJ, and then I got a cat from Detroit, R.A.R.E, who's doing a lot of major things on the blog circuit and just getting out there right now. He's making a lot of waves. I'm trying to get Pittsburgh on to him and shit. So you're gonna be hearing me talk about him way too much, but yeah.
Talk about some of the things that R.A.R.E. does together. I think you guys, the Hip Hop Summit is one of them.
Yeah. I mean, for a while there, like, I mean, we don't do as much anymore. It was really like a R.A.R.E initiative, you know, like when R.A.R.E was like doing it, because he wanted to do a lot of community stuff. And like I want to do community stuff too, but I wanted to do like different type of community stuff, like really be in the hood, like taking care of people, doing shit like that. But that shit just wasn't possible at the time. So we started doing little things like partnering with like my alma mater, with like Woodland Hills High School, doing little things for like the art program, because I made an art booklet with my R.A.R.E tape, and I had the students at Woodland Hills do their senior project was to make art for my art booklet. And so things like that, like giving back, giving them an opportunity to get something publicized, and that was like sent out to like everybody that bought a CD from me, was sent out to the world basically, because I was shipping shit to like Germany and Australia and shit. So like, you know, I gave them an opportunity to do that. We did the Hip Hop Summit to try to bring the city a little bit closer together. We did the whole Pittsburgh Hip Hop Collective to kind of bring hip hop to the art crawl. So like right here on Penn Avenue and shit, they have this art crawl, and there was no like hip hop involved in it at all. So we wanted to like incorporate, you know, hip hop and the culture into the art crawl. So it was something that was open to the public, that you can come into every first Friday and be able to experience, you know, hip hop in a different way. And we bought people like Ninth Wonder and, you know, legendary producer. We bought Talib Kweli, and we bought just like poets. We bought everything. It was kind of just like a thing we were trying to do to like bring everybody together, you know what I mean? We had like a strong year run with that, but we didn't get accepted for the grant the next year, you know, so we didn't have the funds to be able to continue to do it, which sucks. And I wish the city would have allowed us to continue on, but it was something that was important for that time period, and I think it changed a lot of people's perspective of what we wanted to do. And because people think I'm so like I don't fuck with nobody. People feel that way all the time. I hear that shit all the time. Like, it's just I be just in my own world doing my own thing. It's not like I don't fuck with nobody. So I was just trying to bring people together, and some people didn't even like that. They thought I was being, because I kind of picked the panel in a way. It was a group discussion, but you know, you picked the panel, and people were mad they weren't on the panel because they felt like they were better hip-hop artists than this person, or better this than that person. But everybody had on the panel actually does community work as well as doing shit like that. Or I just respect him as a spitter. Like B White don't do no community work, but he was on the panel. You know what I mean? Because he's the best rapper in Pittsburgh. So like, you know, he got to be up there. You know what I mean? Shit like that. People just were mad, you know. But you know, it is what it is. We just trying to do something, you know, to bring people together, you know.
You talked about how you did the art book for your last album. Can you talk about that? And do you have another plan for like a unique rollout for your next album?
Yeah, so the art book was for the R.A.R.E album. So that was 2 projects ago. Yeah, I mean, I just kind of wanted to do something. And even it brought like my high school, they knew about me at that point. Because I was out of high school, like when I started rapping. So, you know, the people that knew me still rocked with me. So I already had like, you know, like 1,000 people that were already gonna rock with me regardless, because I was like friends with a lot of people. But like now, like that younger 4 years ago, like they weren't even in high school when I was in high school. It kind of like helped them put it together. And like I was on like friend's little brother, he goes to Woody High, and they had like TVs in the hallway, but they had like my face on it, like I was like the shining light of like the school for that time period, because I was like giving back. And no one really does that. There's like people that are in the NFL, shit like that don't even give $1 or give a care whether the school does well or like the kids get recognition or anything like that. So I think that was just big for that. It wasn't really even no marketing thing, like I wanted to do anything crazy for it as far as that album goes. The Second Coming, we kind of just did you know, a rollout that was just like a normal rollout, but we just had this whole, people think I have a God complex, but like it's just like along that line. So I was just kind of playing into that. The next project, I don't know. I gotta think about what it is and what I want to do. But I have all these ideas. I have a ton of ideas that I can't do because I don't have the budget. But like if I had the budget, man, I would do some crazy ass shit. Some shit that I want to do that I'm probably going to do when it comes to just the way I want to make my next cover and the things I want to do artistically with it. But I don't know, I want to do a cool ass rollout, something that like everyone can get involved with, like all my fans around the world to really just rock with and feel a part of something. I want to do something that's going to bring everybody together. I have the idea, but I don't want to give it away right now.
So who are some artists you work with now from Pittsburgh besides R.A.R.E. artists?
I've been starting to work with everybody now because like people, I always wanted to work with everybody. I just was always in my own little fucking world, like doing my own thing. You know, I think a lot, so I wasn't really working with a lot of people. But I be working with like Norman Dean, that's my dude. I'm also working with like Joe Kellum, PK Delay, like his whole squad. I really rock with them dudes. Be White, always, you know. We only really got like one song. We known each other for like 10 years and we only got like 1-2 songs maybe. Fran and Vinny, those are my boys. I'm with them boys down there every day. And me and them only got like 1 or 2 songs. So like, I just want to start working with the people that I always been around, you know. People that actually been my friends for a long ass time. And then like some of the new cats, the younger cats, I'm really fucking with them boys like Norm and Joe Kellum and you know, JKJ is always a frequent collaborator. But yeah, man, just, you know, outside of my camp, really just like B, just because he's the best spitter I've heard, you know. Fran and Vinny, come on boys. And Norman Dean, that's like really the only cats I be rocking with.
Who are some of the producers you work with?
Right now, man, the boy Shuma just been killing shit, man. He been sending me some of the hottest shit. Big Andy, I haven't rocked with Big Andy in a minute though, but Big Andy, he did like 3 songs on my last project. Nate Cody, rocking with him heavy. And then I've been rocking with cats from like, from Detroit, cause my boy R.A.R.E, who's on R.A.R.E now, he's from Detroit, man, and they got like, their producers are crazy, man. It's like some new age Dilla type shit, man. Like, they got some shit, Cloud Catchers, Hunter Andretti, Eli Miles, those cats, man, Mo Tizzy. Like, they got heat, man. Cloud Catchers are crazy. Lift Off Beats, he's from out there too. And this dude from Kentucky, Ken killed it. He be having crazy production. So yeah, just give me those people, for real. And Hit of MCM, I be rocking with Hit heavy.
Why do you think the scene right now hasn't reached a level that other big hip hop cities are reaching, even though we've had 2 big artists blow up recently?
I don't know, man. It's like complex, you know what I mean? Like, we got stars, man. Those dudes are stars. Like, Wiz is a huge fucking mega star. You know what I mean? Like, that dude, he strikes gold with a lot of hits, and he really shows out for the Berg too. Like, he shoots videos in the Berg, like he talks about Pittsburgh in a lot of interviews, and he puts on for his people, for real, he does. Cause he got like Sledgerin up there, like he's making beats for major stars. You know, when Cardo was rocking with him, Cardo started making beats for like major stars, you know, Jeezy, Jay-Z, you know what I mean? So like, it's really, you know, whenever your city blows, like when Chicago did that shit, they was really all rocking with each other. You know, they were doing features with each other, even when they already blew up, and they still had people in the city that ain't blow up yet. They was doing work with them. So like when Dirk was like one of the first ones out booming, he was still working with other people, like in his camp and in other camps, and Chief Keef was on the same shit, and Chance was on the same shit. Well, it's a whole different side of the music in the city, but they were doing all that shit because Chance was on with the Save Money crew, and now them Save Money dudes is coming up, and Vic Mensa came up through that shit too. So like, you know, and everybody showing mad love to each other. And that's the same way it happened in Atlanta, same way it happened in New York, same way it happened in LA. Cause like the cats I fuck with from LA, like Dom Kennedy, Nipsey Hussle, Polyester, Kendrick, all those kind of cats, they all just kind of worked together. Like TDE worked together to get everybody on. So I think it's a thing like that where, you know, we have these 2 stars, but they're not necessarily working. Like, I mean, where's that shit with Chevy and Juicy J and this person, that person? So Chevy's well on his way. You know what I mean? Max doing shit with, he's not necessarily doing collabs and shit, but like he's helping out like Chew, helping out Fran and Vinny, helping out these people and that people. But you know, it could always just be more and more. And I think from within the city, we just kind of need to not be so city-minded. We have so much pride. Like Pittsburgh pride is like something serious. Like we rep the Steelers heavy, we rep the Pirates heavy, lose or win, we rep the Pirates heavy. And the Penguins, like we're a ride or die city. Like we're about Pittsburgh and that's it. We just kind of have to switch the mentality when it comes to hip hop that we kind of got to be about everything. You know what I mean? Like we're a big city, but it's such a small blip on the map when it comes to hip hop. That it doesn't matter how good we all think each other are. We just got to make sure the rest of the world knows how tight we are. Because there's so much talent here, but we know we're all hard. Like, there's so many rappers here that are fucking amazing, but we know that. But the rest of the world don't know that. So we just gotta like think of a way to tell the world collectively that we're hard as fuck, and we need at least like 20 people on in the next 5 to 10 years. You know what I mean?
You think there's sort of a separation between like the boom bap scene and the trap scene and everything?
For sure, man. That trap should be booming, dog. Like,
Yeah.
like if you're a trap rapper in the Berg, man, you drop a song, that shit liable to get 100,000 views, like on YouTube, like, and people sharing that shit. I mean, it's a thing too where cats in the hood, they don't go to websites to download shit, man. They go to YouTube to listen to it 1,000 times. Like, they'll do that shit every day. They'll be like, yeah, this is my shit. I'm going to YouTube to find it, cause that's just what hood niggas do. That's just what it is. Like, I'd be down with the hood, they'd be like, yo, you dropped a CD, right? Like, it's shit's on YouTube? And I'm just like, nah, it's like everywhere else but YouTube, honestly. Yeah. And they're like, oh, I'll be listening to shit on YouTube, you know what I mean? So like, when it comes to like trap rap and the hood shit, like, people really go to YouTube. So like, that, and then like, I be seeing a lot of trap rappers post their shit to Facebook now. So anytime it goes on the page, like, they're getting like 3,000 views in a day, 4,000 views in a day, which is crazy, you know, which is good. Like, it's great marketing. But like, and people want to see that shit too. Like, we live in an age where we want to see some gangster shit, some real life gangster shit. Like, we've been watching too many movies like for so long. So when you see cats, like, that's why Chief Keef blew up. It was just so raw, like, to have like a cat who was on house arrest and he was just in his crib with a whole bunch of dudes with AKs and guns, and they didn't care. The same way it was like a shock when Wiz was smoking weed and everything he was doing. Yeah. It was like a shock, and that got people looking like, who's this dude Wiz? Like, who's this dude Chief Keef? You know, who are these cats from Chicago? Because they don't give a fuck. You know, and it's like that in Pittsburgh now too, where, you know, these trap rappers, they're booming. Like, I know people like whose little sisters and shit, like, they love that trap shit. Like, they're 15, 14, 13 years old. They love that trap shit. They might not know nothing about that shit. Don't even know nobody that do none of that shit, but they love it. The hip hop shit is just like, people think it's just too deep, like it's too in depth, and they're not even listening. I had a conversation with somebody like, why do you like trap? And they was like, cause it's real. And I'm like, so what I'm saying ain't real? Then you got it all mixed up, because what I'm saying is probably more true than half the shit you listening to. And they kind of like taken back by that shit, but like, you're not listening to what I'm saying. I'm saying the same exact shit, I'm just saying it differently. And you know, they started listening to my shit and they were like, yeah, you're a street poet, you know. And I was like, yeah, I just say it different. So it's the same shit, man. We talk about the same struggles, the same things. They just say it differently than we do. But people love that shit, man. Like, I love that shit. I've been listening to trap all the time. But I can't rap like that because it's just not in me. Man, JKJ listen to trap more than anything else, man. I keep telling him turn that shit off. It's killing the soul, but he don't listen to me, man. Okay,
so you said before, you were talking about Shadow Lounge and how important it was. Why do you think none of the other venues have been able to have that connection with the hip hop scene like the Shadow Lounge had?
Because they're corny as hell. Like, you can't do half the shit you could do in these venues as you could in the Shadow Lounge. Like, it had nothing to do with even smoking or drink. I mean, cause we were drinking, like, smoking and shit, like, in there. But like, it's just corny. Like, I can't even. One time I tried to do a show and I'm wearing like my regular shit, and they wouldn't let me in because of a dress code. Like, I'm performing, I'm headlining. So like, how you gonna tell me what I can and can't wear in a spot because it was on the south side? They're like, oh, this doesn't promote this, or it promotes this or that. I'm like, yo, like, relax, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to perform, trying to have good energy. It's like shit like that. Like, it was like, it was in and of the hip hop culture. Like, Shadow Lounge was about hip hop and about jazz and about love, peace, and prosperity. Like, that's what it was about. Like, when you went there, you had that feeling. Now these spots want to open it up to hip hop because we have two big stars, and they just want to make some extra bucks off of us, and they don't try to pay us. And that shit's corny. I go to a lot of places and luckily I get paid for a lot of shit now. But when I wasn't getting paid for shit and they were treating us like shit, it made me not even want to rap anymore because it was just so corny. And it wasn't about hip hop, it's about dollars. And one of the big reasons why, you know, Shadow Lounge didn't last is because of it was too hip hop in there, like way too hip hop. And the people in the area, in the area where it's coming up on some like gentrified shit, where like they're building like high-end apartments and they're building these nice restaurants and shit like that. They didn't really want that around there. So everyone else is kind of following suit, like, yeah, like we can't make it too hip hop in here. It can't be too street, you know. The occasional fight can't happen here, you know, like it did at the Shadow Lounge. But it was all love, man. It was all love, and I don't even know love in this shit. So it's just corny. They ain't never gonna survive.
So you performed at a lot of these hip hop showcases like this past year. So
Yeah.
you think people are taking full advantage of these opportunities to network, or you think people kinda,
Like that? You mean like the out of town shit?
No, like the ones on like Southside. Do you think people network, or they kind of let like egos get in the way and kind of don't want to like
It's
reach out to
definitely
each other?
It's definitely egos, man. Like everybody want to be next now, you know. Like when we didn't have no stars, it didn't matter, man. Like it didn't matter. We was all just doing it because we loved it. And then like Wiz blew up, and we was like all still kind of doing it because we loved it. And then once a second person blew up, like when Mac blew up, it was like, oh, I'm next out the city. So nobody really wanted to fuck with each other, and people still don't. And it's like corny. Like I go to shows where like, you know, you have to bring out your fans or whatever. You sell tickets, you bring out your fans, and whether that's 10 people, 30 people, you know, 100 people, whatever you did, you perform and you leave and you take all your fans with you, and then the next person that comes on is performing in front of their 15 people. But it was about bringing everybody together so you can impress new people. And people do that shit all the time, and I see that shit. And that's why, like, when I go to shows, whether I'm a bigger name than that person or not, I make sure all my people stay around from beginning to end. Because normally I go last, but I try to make sure all my people are there at 9 o'clock when it opens to see the first person all the way to the last person. And even some of these showcases got 10, 15 people on it because whoever's throwing it is trying to make money. So I make my people stay from 9 o'clock to 2 a.m. to rock with everybody, because that's just the kind of energy my fans should be bringing to everything. And they rock with everybody, and they show love to everybody. They don't hate on nobody. And there'll be shows I go to where people was hating, and I think it's like that, man. It's a lot of egos, and it's a lot of shit like I mean, I've been to shows where, you know, I'm not gonna name names and shit, but a cat from the bird came, didn't sell as many tickets as I did, and but he wanted to go after me because he felt like he's better than me. So I was like, well, the person I threw it was like, nah, you know, he's going second. And dude was like, he flipped out. His manager was flipping out. They was cussing, like throwing shit in the bar. Like, they were like, yo, you gotta go. So he didn't even get to perform. And then that night, whoever was headliner, the headliner never even showed up. So I ended up doing an 1.5-hour set myself. And that's when I got cool with Drusky Entertainment. And that's how I've been doing all of my shows since then. So I've been opening up for Currency and Ty Dolla $ign and Nipsey Hussle and Pusha T. After that moment, when I was the only one that stayed humble and did what I needed to do, and I performed the 1.5 hours for the fans that I brought there and the people that came on to see the headliner, like, and Drusky threw it, and they were like, yo, we respect you so much. And they'll hit me first before they hit other people up to do shows, and I'll either decline it or accept it. So like, you know, it's a lesson to be humble, because you never know who's watching, and you never know what opportunity is gonna come of anything. So you gotta go do it, and you gotta be humble and do that shit. And it's the wrong way to go with that ego shit, man. That ego shit's not good for anybody.
Recently, most of the shows you perform with a live band.
Yeah.
How'd that come about, and why did you start doing that?
I always want to do that shit, man. Like, before I even really started rapping, I used to watch Jay-Z's Fade to Black DVD. Like, literally, like, every single night before I went to sleep, like my senior year of high school, I watched that shit. It was like the shit I did every night before I went to sleep. And he had a band, he had the Roots playing on that shit. And it just to me, it sounds so crazy. Like, so I always wanted to do that shit. And then once I started getting like a little bit more popular, like in the city, I was able to do it. Cause I just was like hitting people up like, yeah, like you play an instrument, this and that. And then they were just like happy to be involved, you know? So like, I had like a band one time. It was pretty much just like a group of people that just like, I just kind of picked them out, like trying to Frankenstein that situation. We used to do like mad shit, and it was getting mad love. And then these boys from my high school, 4-1 tuned, a couple of them went to Berkeley. So they trained like for music specifically. And we kind of got together and we started doing shit. And then the city got corny again, and they stopped letting me bring my band, or they didn't want to pay the extra money to make sure my band was compensated. So I ain't rock with them in almost a year now because of that. And they didn't want me to have a band if the headliner didn't have a band. Like I remember the Pusha T show, like Pusha T didn't have a band, so they were like, nah, you can't have a band because you're gonna show up the headliner. I'm just like, that's corny. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm trying to make it, dog. I'm trying to be that dude. So like, you know, it was just corny. But I mean, it was always something I wanted to do, man. It's a blessing. I still rock with them dudes, man. We still want to do it. The first opportunity I get to tour and make my own rules, like they will be with me, and we're gonna be rocking for a long time, yo.
So what do you say would be the highlight of your career thus far?
Highlight of my career? I don't know, man. I have these moments, man. These ups and downs with the shit, you know, like. But just like, it be at shows, man. It's not even no one thing. It's not even no one like milestone that I reached. It's really just like the shows and then the impact and the way people connect with it, man. It's like, I have these things where sometimes I'm like, man, I hate rap, yo. I really do hate rap. I hate rappers. I hate all things related to rap. And then I do a show and then like, I see someone's like life change in the crowd where they really connect with it. Mm-hmm. And it's those things that like are the high points of like, my careers, when people connect with it and they come to me and they talk about how a song helped them get through something, or how you know, a performance really like changed their day because they were having a real shitty day. They didn't even want to be where they were, but then when I got on stage, it made their whole day better, their week better. Those are the type of things that are like, you know, big for me. The shows, I'm supposed to be doing shows. I'm supposed to be on stages with these names, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I started doing it. So I don't really think those are like the big moments. I think it's really like the connections between the fans, because that's kind of what I do it for, you know?
What's next for Palermo Stone?
I don't know, there's more music, man. Like I always drop like 1 CD a year, you know what I mean? Like on my 5th year, I want to drop 4 CDs. It'll be my 5th CD, like, you know, coming up. But like, just more music, you know what I mean? Like, I got a lot of shit to say, and I throw away so many songs. Like, normally for a project I do like I put 12 songs on it, but I do 50 songs, sometimes 100 songs. Like for the R.A.R.E project, I did, I think, 85 songs, and I picked like 12 or 15, whatever, to put on there. So I think I'm just gonna start dropping some of that music, but like as I'm doing shit, I'm just gonna start dropping music, man. Just more music. I got a couple big meetings lined up, so I mean, if things happen like that, it'll be random as hell, good news, you know. But yeah, I mean, just more, you know, just more of everything we've done right and less of everything we've done wrong, you know. Fine-tuning everything and getting it right, because there's like a lot of shit going on, a lot of good things happening, so yeah, just more of the good shit, less of the bad.
Alright, thank you.
Yo, y'all wanna see what type of mood I'm in? I'm a winner, I'm the best anywhere I am. Here I am. Fresh cut, few bucks, but I'm feeling like a million. I'ma get mine, I'ma get shine. Till then, I'ma nod to the baseline with a great mind. And in time, I'ma net my space. Yeah. Y'all gonna know my face. Book my shows, be able to pay back all this money I owe. After that, then it's money I blow. When I'm in it, stay up in it from start till finish, and I hope my energy don't diminish. I'ma keep on spitting, I'ma go for Guinness. If I blow it, I meant it. If I own it, y'all rent it. Yeah, I'm copywritten. Y'all just copywritten. In love with my style that was got you smitten. Alive and kicking, whackness omitted. Name the ill spit, and I came to get it. Get it? Step to your city. Me mugging gritty, forever and a diddy. No, I'm not diddy. No money stacking to the ceiling. Shook nightlife, made a living killing. Beats, that is, teach these kids how to have recess in a recession. This world will retest him and retest him till they see stressed him. Keep testing, no messing. I'm the best here.